Hi everybody, welcome to my channel for a new battle report. I had the pleasure to be contacted by Vespasian from the channel Glory of the Golden State Gaming to play a practice game, which I was really happy to do. Basically, someone I appreciate. I appreciate reading and watching his content. Before he was writing battle reports on the forum and now making video the same as I do. So it's always a pleasure to face, somebody that does the same hobby as mine, which is not only playing the game and painting, but also producing battle report. We played a practice game on Warhall. This was the occasion for me to play a first practice game, to do a first try with the new Ogre book after the update. So we'll see what I wanted to experiment in this game. I played the following list. So I decided basically to try a couple of new things and to take some of more usual things, which are, for example, the Great Khan. I kept him the fighty build that we know. I wanted to try out the new Lego Tank together with the Bruiser Brock to see how that combined together. Then I kept my shooty BSB, but instead of shooty Mercvets, I tried Bombardier. And also in this unit, I expected to place my Shaman Master of Thaumaturgy, who has Binding Scroll, Magical Heirloom, and I also have somewhere a Rod of Battle. BSB is still BSB 18-inch. And then I have a Mammoth Hunter. I wanted to bring back a Mammoth, the good old Mammoth Hunter. I brought some, I think, one of the best build that you can have, which is the 6 attack, strength 6 on the charge, 2 up, 5 up. I think something that I always like to play with, but it was quite long time ago since it was the last time I used this entry of the book. Core section, I wanted to try out the new Saber-tooth Tiger unit by 5, and then Tribes and Dart. I kept the Tusker Cavalry with Skinget unit that I've liked in the past, and I wanted to play again with them. Lone Tiger unit of Bombardier, like I said. I brought back also Thunder Cannon long time ago since I used the Thunder Cannon, and then as the last unit in the list is a Slave Giant with Iron Fist. Vespasian decided to play the following list. He played 2 trees in the character section. So the first one is Master Druidism, and second one is the Avatar of Nature. Then he brought a Chieftain BSB who is a Blade Dancer with the spear that makes him and the unit distracting when he does a hit or more. Then his core section is 4 scoring units, so 1 East Rider and 3 Archer unit, and then he has 1 Fast Cav East Rider unit as well. He brought 12 Blade Dancers, 6 Wild Huntsmen, a Forest Eagle, and 2 units of Pathfinder. So I would say, scoring-wise, not the best list that you can see. I think very different than, for example, the Sylvan Elf list that I faced at ETC, who has much more combat power. Here in this list, it's mainly about range damage, and then he has a couple of pieces to try to control the board or slow down the enemy. During this time, he's going to maximize what he can do from range. So that was my reading of the list, but I don't expect to struggle too much in combat against this list. Here you have spell selection. Vespasian asked me to try to play on all the ground. I thought that was the most challenging one. I agree with him on that, so we picked all the ground. The rest was done randomly. We got a counter trust. Matchup analysis. So I would be happy to start. Since it's counter trust, you can see 3 drops of the opponent, and all the ground you also more often like to start to get some board control and basically win some ground. Hold ground, I think it's kind of hard, really hard for his lists to win. I think he has weak scoring units that are quite small. Could be really hard for him to get points. What I expected from him as the game plan would be to split his forces around the table and try to win on points. So basically put his shooting on more one part of the map with the Pathfinder that are scouting, try to clean some of my stuff to get some breathing space in one part of the map. We'll see what he decides to do. And he has a couple of combat threats, but I felt that my Tusker and Bruiser should be strong. Obviously, the challenge Great Khan against Avatar is not in my favor, but then I think between the Tuskers and the Bruisers, so my big unit with high strengths, I should do okay against him and also against the Blade Dancer. What I need to pay attention a bit is about the wild huntsman. I will try to basically deal with them from distance between magic and shooting. Estimation was I put 13, but I think it's definitely in my favor between the secondary objective and the list as well. Deployment. So I wandered for side and gave him the impossible. He decided to start dropping, which makes sense. He put a light cav here. My first drop was the dog here in the middle. I debated. My first ID was tribesman, which was the right choice. And then instead I decided to go with dogs. Why tribesmen were better? Because basically we're playing all the ground and I like to have second scoring unit really close from it. So I think tribesman was the right choice. His second drop was then an eagle. Then afterward I placed my giant and he went with something more in the back. And then my third drop I think was tribesman dart. After what he decided to drop for first turn. So he put his scoring cavalry, the 3 unit of archers. So everybody quite close to the middle. Made me think that he's going to try to go for it and not play all around the back line like I could have expected. Then he put his 2 scouting plus finder around here. Here's the mage, here's the avatar. Here are the blade dancer with the BSB, eagle, wild huntsman. My counter deployment, just wanted to make sure these guys don't go out of arc. I think it wasn't necessary to make the taskers look that way. It could have been a bit more up the field and look straight. I think the bombardier alone should basically make sure the wild huntsman cannot come too close to them because of the effectivity of their shooting. So I think I could have just angled a bit the bombardier, put them a bit higher, and put those guys straight a bit higher the field as well. Then I put Bruiser Star in the middle, so I kept only the BSB in this unit. I felt the shooting would be enough for them, but I wanted my magic to be in the middle, so I put my shaman in here, great cannon here, and then you have my cannon, hunter together with the cat and the giant on the far left. This is after Vanguard and so on. His turn 1. So he just rearranged, decided to hide his wild huntsman, which I think makes sense. In the magic phase, he did -2 to shoot on my cannon with 4 dice against my 5, but still get the spell. And in shooting, he did 6 wounds to my tribesman dart and 1 wound to the dogs, which is a good start, we could say. My turn 1. So I decided to start, first of all, rearranging what I did on the right side. So I repositioned those guys and slide 4. I start to slide also my big unit of bruisers to be close to the center and push those guys slightly forward in the field to get some soft cover. My hunter moved back from the ruin in the right direction, trying to push towards the middle. The giant is pushing forward. My cannon just didn't move much, just pivot to shoot at his avatar, and I hide both the remaining tribesman and then the Saber-tooth tiger. Basically that's it. In magic phase, I try Hand of Heaven on the cavalry, trying to force panic check on a 9 no reroll, but I did no damage at all. Then I got hereditary on my dogs in case he attempts some charges. I just kept, which is it's something always annoying with the avatar and the other 3 farther. It's the fact that they have movement 5, not swift ride, making a charge like on 8 not so likely to be achieved, which is always risky to attempt charges with this type of model. So I felt I tried to take advantage of that. Shooting, my BSB did a lot, did like 3 wounds, and I did another 2 wounds with bombardier. So I killed already almost all the unit. There was only 1 guy remaining, which is huge. The cannon misfires, roll a 4, so I cannot shoot next turn as well. His turn 2. Just move away with the Violence Man, stayed a bit backwards, so let me try to start scoring secondary objective, move back with the scoring and so on. Not much, rearrange, just reposition also his Blade Dancer, but it kept giving me some long charges. I think here double 6 and here maybe 11. Swift Ride both. In Magic Phase, he tried to put -1 weapon skill on the Death Star, but failed. Then he got Stone Skin on the Blade Dancer. I think he was just afraid that I would attempt a long charge that could be game breaking, basically, the way he's set up here, which makes sense. And then he got Hereditary with 3 dice against 3 on his General. I dispelled the healing, basically, and with shooting he did a total of 9 wounds to my Bruiser Star, so it's a whole rank that is shot away. But I think with the shooting, maybe here a small commentary. I think when you're playing such a list, it's very important that you go with a game plan about what you want to do with your shooting, what you want to achieve, and basically try to focus on one target until it's killed. So here I think for me, the fact that he shot at the tribesman first turn with Pathfinder and now the bruisers, okay, but if he would have started first turn, I would have already half the bruiser star not here anymore. So if the game plan is to go for the middle, I think he could have already focused the bruiser star from turn 1. And then if now I have only like 4 or 5 bruisers remaining, it's not the same as before. So I think that could have been a possible game plan to try to, as soon as possible, focus all his shooting attack not on small scoring or chaff, but everything on the bruisers. Could have been a game plan. My turn 2. So I continue to move a bit forward, try to get into good position, but still being patient. I move my giant within 6 to do the breast weapon, and basically he cannot escape line of sight this way if he failed the mark check. Here I think I made a small but still quite important mistake, is the orientation of the Mammoth Hunter. Basically I wanted to attempt a shot on this unit to force panic check, but I think it's not so significant enough to look that way. Should have looked towards the middle, because I don't have so many units looking at the middle, and I think the Mammoth Hunter looking that way would have been much better. I put my Mammoth Hunter in a way that he cannot charge me. Move my dog sideways, the Death Star sideways, those guys a bit sideways, and move those guys forward basically. Yeah, move a bit my cannon as well, and so on. In the magic phase, I got Hand of Heaven on the small cavalry, again trying to attempt a panic check, kill 3, but he passed the panic check. Then I got as well breast weapon on my giant, kill another 1, and I think another 1 with the hunting spear. He had to take panic check, but again on 9, no reroll, he passes it, so there is 1 remaining, and he dispel, I think, the Wrath of God. Shooting attack, I killed 3 of the blade dancer, and that's it. And now, since I'm not looking at the middle, he decided to try to activate this game a bit more, try to take some risk, which I think can make sense due to the fact that how he was deployed and the fact that he wants to play on all the ground. Because if he doesn't do anything, I already got a point on turn 2. So if he stays back, he's going to lose on the secondary objective for sure, and then probably on point as well. So he decided to push with the avatar to basically make it impossible for me to charge into the Blade Dancer with the whole unit. Wasn't afraid of the challenge, I think makes sense. Uses the eagle to chaff my Tusker unit. He moved out of the way with the remaining cavalry to be within 6 of the middle, which is very annoying. And he also moved the archer within 6. So he has 1 2-scoring unit within the middle, which is not bad. And the rest just rearrange, and he moved again with the Wild Huntsman to the side just to disturb me and force me to get rid of him at some point, or basically to, yeah, I could potentially also use it as chaff later on. In the magic phase, he got -1 weapon skill on my Death Star, and then he got hereditary on his general. And it was quite funny because at this point he told me, I felt I did a mistake if you let go both -1 weapon skill and hereditary on the avatar. And I was like smiling behind my computer because that's, I think he identified what I had in mind, which is not to engage with the bruiser unit against his avatar. So my turn, we'll see what solution I came up with. I decided to charge out with the Great Can against the Blade Dancer, thinking I could challenge out. I'm not too much in danger against this unit. No dangerous counter charge. And basically this unit is pinned down, which frees the Tusker Cav to charge the Eagle, and then gives more time to the Bruiser unit. Also gives time for me to move out with the Shaman. So that's what I did. So I moved out with the Shaman, with the Lone Tribesman, move those guys a bit back. And then I wanted to get rid of the scoring with this small unit of dogs. Basically, after the combat, my expectation is just to reform to make it a 1-1 on the old ground would be enough. And I made sure that after I kill this one, I can reform in a way that the avatar, if he charge my dog, there is no overrun into the bruisers, no overrun into my tigers. So I should be fine. I move my cannon to get a proper line of sight on his guy and also to be able to move them back. So cannon is going to be on 4+. And I move those guys sideways. And try to correct my mistake by pushing both Mammoth Hunter and the Giant towards the middle. The only problem being I'm so close between my unit that he can easily chaff multiple units at one time, but I cannot avoid that. In the magic phase, I get Rot Within on the Great Cannon in the shooting phase, did 4 wounds to the Avatar, so that was really good. I attempted then to finish it with the Mammoth Hunter that was in short range, but it passes a 6-up armor save, so no scandal here. The dogs, against his cavalry in contact, I fluff and he passes 2 5-up armor saves, so 1-1 with tight combat, which wasn't expected. So now my plan, he can overrun into me, which isn't such a big deal. Here I kill the eagle in post-combat pivot, but the only problem being he wins 1 point of all the ground because I have only 1 scoring, so it's going to be 1-1. Therefore, I just decided to reform those guys to be in a better position because it doesn't matter that I lose scoring unit. And here I challenge, he took it with the champion, I murdered the champion, he passes the stubborn 9 rollable. His turn 4, he charged with the Avatar, uses those guys as chaff for my 2 guys, reposition all his shooting to shoot at my bombardier, try to deal with them. I wasn't too concerned by that, except the fact that I could potentially lose the BSB. But, I mean, the fight is going to be decided in the middle, and I felt I was in good enough position with the bruisers to countercharge the Avatar, with those guys to go into this combat, with those guys to charge here, to be in really good position at the start of turn 5 to basically get rid of most the combat unit, and then it just matter what he kills with his shooting attack, but I will definitely win the center and took some good points here. So I wasn't too concerned about this move, I think, because the Bombardier at this point of time are not so important anymore. It's just about the BSB thing, if I can survive or not. A Magic Face, I Binding Scroll Hereditary, which I felt was the most problematic spell because would make hitting the bruisers. That was I was concerned about, is the combat between bruisers and his Avatar. I don't want to hit him badly, basically. So I Binding Scroll Hereditary, he failed Summer Growth, which was huge on 4 dice, so it was really unlikely. And then he managed at least to heal 1 wound on the Avatar. Shooting, he killed everybody in the Bombardier unit except 1 guy was left on 1 wound, and he did also a wound on my BSB. Which is a lot, but it's expected. I mean, everybody short range, it's just a crazy amount of range damage. Close combat, I think he did do this one first. He barely killed me. Overrun into this one, where I think I kill the carry guy. He didn't do much. I think he fluffed heavily, and I managed to stick on a low check, like a 5. Which at the end of the day didn't matter much because in case he would destroy me, he would overrun onto the giant and I still have the charge with the bruises in his back or something like that. So it's still a combat where I should easily be able to kill him with so many bruises left. So I felt it didn't matter much, it's just going to save my tigers, which is nice. Here I challenge, he declined the challenge and I kill 5 of the guys, which is I think kind of expected. He decided to go with extra attack instead of the 3+ ward save, and this is going to be huge because by killing 5 I now have enough room to move with the Tuskers past the unit and to charge directly into his shooting unit, which is really huge. So basically I was quite happy about that. I think the right play could have been and it's also making him test a stubborn on a 9 no reroll. I think the right play could have been to take it with the BSB and take the 3+ ward save, I think, to make sure that he's still here. I think so. Or maybe even not take the 3+ ward save and hope to survive. I'm not sure, but I think the ward save would have been the right choice here. Yeah, that's about it. And my turn 4, I'm charging with the Tuskers into his unit of Pathfinder. He fled and I catch him basically and reform that way. Move out of the way with both the bruiser guy. The lone bombardier was able to be within 6, which is nice. I charge with the bruisers, charge with these 2 here. I'm going to have an overrun on 7. I charge with the cannon as well. So as you can see, it looks good for me. Magic Face, I put -1 resilience on the Avatar to just make sure I win this combat. And basically, yeah, he was able to do some good. So here I kill those guys, overrun, get the overrun. I managed to do a lot of ward save, but didn't matter much because I think that after I killed the Avatar with the bruisers, he killed only 1 bruiser, so I had still 19 attack on 4+3+, which is still a lot. I managed to do also 1 wound with the dog, and I just kill outright the avatar. And after that, we decided to stop the game because it was, I mean, he could save some points, maybe kill my BSB with range damage, okay, but it's not going to matter anymore since I'm going to take some points on the archer and win the secondary objective. What can I say on the game? So he tried to play all the ground rather than splitting around the table. I think that was the right game plan would have been to not play for all the ground with his list and just try to take points from distance. It's obviously a hard matchup. I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't put enough scoring in the middle, making sometimes a bit harder to score than it should have been. I should have at least put my dart in the middle instead of the dog. Hunter should have looked in the middle turn 2, like I said. Great Can pinning down the Blade Dancer, I think was an important move, allowing me to take time to engage then with the Tuskers and also to engage when I want, how I want with my bruisers against his avatar. Really happy to play again with bruisers that can do something even without a character in the unit, which wasn't the case before with the Tribesmen, because Tribesmen, they relied a lot on my old Kagadai, but if you fluff or if you get killed, then basically that's the end. And now the bruisers on their own were able to deal with the avatar. Shaman and BSB were a bit too exposed. I'm not such a fan of this type of unit that was Bombardier were really exposed, and both character, I think the fact that the Shaman was in the bruiser had to go out, I didn't feel too comfortable with these choices, so I wasn't too happy about. I think Bombardier doesn't suit me so well, and also the way I wanted to play with both this character wasn't too good. Thaumaturgy, I think same commentary that I made at ETC, Wrath of God when it matters get dispelled because I use 3 dice since I don't want to blow up my mage. Combat buff were decent, Hand of Heaven breath output is still kind of random. It's still a very good lore, but definitely the next thing I'm going to try out will be a double Shaman non-master combo like Adept, something like that. And yeah, like I always say, I think when you engage into combat, the outcome can be sometimes unexpected, like dogs against his lone cavalry, and then the avatar against the dogs was a bit funny. Didn't had so much of impact, was more funny than anything. And about deployment, what could I say? Yeah, I would have expected him to split a bit more, maybe put his Pathfinder here on the left, try to shoot out the giant and then push here, get some breathing space to move out with his unit and try to avoid combat as much as possible, basically. That's it guys for this battle report. I hope you liked it. Thanks a lot for watching and talk to you soon on the channel. Bye bye.